the number one thing here that I want to do is to go over what you have. You know, um, oftentimes, and honestly, I think this is the most valuable mentorship that you could have because it's directly about you. You know, this is the number one way that you can grow, in my opinion, is getting direct feedback about your process and your journey. So let me pull this up. Perfect here. Awesome. Awesome. You said my trading desk is so helpful. It changed the whole game for me as I was not consistent with journaling. I love that. Thank you so much. Honestly, that's the whole intention. Just being real with you guys. I definitely struggled with going over this and lo puedo hacer también en castellano. Al mismo tiempo. ¿Por qué no? Entonces, so yeah, like I was saying, guys, en verdad, creo que voy a hacer esto en castellano otra sesión y se los prometo que lo hago. Pero lo voy a hacer en inglés para que fluya mejor. But anyways, guys, back to English. I struggled with documenting and journaling first because I didn't know that's what I had to do. I wasn't aware. I just didn't, or honestly, eventually you kind of do realize it and they say it, but I didn't realize the magnitude, like how powerful that really, really is. You don't really know at all. And so when thinking about that, you know, my mindset was, how do I, put things together so that more people can build the right habits? How do I do something so that we have a positive loop on doing it? And I still think we're going to have more things being refined and we have more goals for something like this. But the reality is this: once I started to document, once I started to realize like what it is that I'm actually doing, then everything started to really change because I was able to actually take ownership. I was able to actually, for the first time in my life, kind of realize like really, really see your mistakes. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I can work on this, I can work on that, but we don't know how bad it is, right? We don't really know that we're running away from certain things. So, yeah, my goal with everyone here is so that you stop running away from who it is that you are, and we really just face our problems head on. Because when we do that, then nothing and nobody can take anything away from you. Like, so that's the most important thing. What's up, Christian? Man, I'm missing your name too. I still struggle. I'm getting better as time goes and really trying to lock down journaling all my thoughts day to day and continuing to journal my trades. Yeah, and that's the thing too, guys. Like, if you are not great at it right now, the thing is just to do it, and eventually it'll become, sporadic every once in a while, and then you'll start to get into a groove. You probably fall off a little bit, and then eventually you'll get better. But it's better to at least document once a week or a month than nothing. And the closer you get to 4 or 5 days a week, then I can almost see a successful future ahead. And here's what I'll tell you: I've never met someone who goes through their journals and their documentation and gets worse. So I've never met anyone that gets worse excuse me, at trading. Can you give me some water? For those of you who don't know, we had a convention. Oh my god, that's hilarious. I asked Nance for water and it like literally is right. It's like right there. I could actually touch it.
Closer to you.
But I just count on her so much, So shout out to Nance. But we had a convention this weekend and did a lot of talking. So throat's a little rough. But what I will say, Christian, and I want to speak on this, and hopefully I can. But I know, for those of you guys don't know Christian, but he's doing pretty well in his trading game. He's done a lot of growth. He's gotten, I'd say, he has successes in this space, and he still struggles with his documentation, with his journaling, And I would say that he's at a place where a lot of people would like to be too. So when you consider that, you don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to be every day in order to really get this down. Not at all. That's not what you need to do. It's just to do it. And the more you do it, the better you get, the further you go. So let's make sure we're doing that. And I know I see Justin here says, I still struggle with greed, but I journal. And one, shout out to you just for sharing power and vulnerability. A lot of people, they're afraid to say that they have these thoughts, that they have these impulsive actions every once in a while. But I will say that the some of the most successful people out there are people that have the best impulse control. So if we know the better impulse control we have, the more documentation we create for ourselves, the likelier it is to succeed. If we know those things, then I mean, guess what? That's what we need to do. That's where our focus is. And I say this often, but when you shift your perception on what makes you feel good in this lane in particular with trading, because usually the easy thing is you see profits and that makes you feel good. But when you consciously decide, what, when I see discipline, when I check off discipline in my trading journal, when I check it off, that's what makes me feel good. Right? When I go when you go on a streak, I don't know if you guys have any apps where you go on a streak, like a workout streak or like a fasting streak, or like, you're reading 10 pages, but like when you go on a streak with something, it feels amazing. So that might be something that you want to look to do in this, in your trading journey. But guys, and most importantly, what I want to do, this is more to be a Q&A. Specifically, I wanted to go over the trading journals that you guys have that you're willing to share. So I'll say share your trading journals. I don't want to give you guys direct feedback. So let's see here. I'm gonna pin this so everyone's familiar. And if you're not doing, again, who here is actively trading, whether it's real, demo, whatever it is, but you're not journaling? And if so, why not? What's holding you back? Just a habit. And I'll tell you guys what really made me start. It wasn't the best, but what made me start. And it was honestly, I went to a point where I lost so much, like so often, that I was like, okay, like clearly there's a problem. Clearly there's a problem. So what I don't want is for you guys to have to get to a like the low, like almost the breaking point. Ideally, you avoid that. So if you can avoid getting to the worst, then that's better. So that would be my recommendation for everybody here, is just know that don't wait until you're basically about to quit to start to journal and document. Because if you do, you're digging yourself out of a way deeper hole. So can I send you my journal after this via IG? I mean, the whole point was for me to go over this, and I'll block off names. Let's do this. If you guys send it to me via whatever other platforms, um, then I'll just anonymously open them up, just because I know some of you won't feel comfortable with doing that. So you can send it to me somewhere else, and then I'll make sure that I open them up anonymously, and we go with something like that. But let's see. Some Christian said, I noticed that at times when I lose, I would take longer to jot down my emotions in my journal, or it would be hours later when my emotions weren't the same anymore that I need to work on. Yeah, so that's a good observation, and I would say I'm the same way. I would say I'm the exact same way, and that has gotten a lot better. But when I first started to do that, because you're kind of ashamed, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed, like, man, I lost money, or I lost, I over leveraged, or you're on a losing streak. But what I realized was, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you guys the end result, and kind of I'll show you the vision, like the end of the tunnel, so that maybe you'll do it now. But here's what's happened after, you know I've been trading now for 7-8 years. So you bounce back a lot quicker, right? Your emotional scale changes. So I'm going to show you guys something here real quick because I think this is incredibly, incredibly impactful. But I'm going to share my screen with you guys here. Give me a sec. Share screen. All right. So here we go. Check this out. So this is the emotional guidance scale. And as a trader, this is really important. Like super, super important. And so you guys don't have to focus. This is what we're focusing on. Nothing else. So the lowest levels of vibration, like where you're at, how you're feeling, they start here. Fear, grief, depression, powerless, victim. And so depending on how we perceive losing a trade or trades, right, they can trigger a certain feeling, a certain emotion. And what happens is the longer you take to write down, what you traded and the experience and what you felt, then the longer it's going to take you to climb out of the spiral, right? And it might even get worse. So you might actually spiral down instead of picking up momentum to the upside and realizing what you gained from it. So the end of the tunnel is now when I do lose, I actually want to get to the journal faster because what I know is every single time I, basically do surgery on the trade, I open up the trade and I dive into it, I dig in, I see, okay, the technical side, did I make a mistake? I see every aspect of what the trade was. Then what happens? It's a cleanse. Sometimes you need to perform surgery to take out the toxicity, and then you're good. So performing basically surgery on your trade, you're just opening it up and you're analyzing, you're assessing what's going on. Is this healthy? So you're kind of doing just, experimentation. So what I know now is when I do that, right, when I do something like this, then here we go. Let's say you trade and let's say you are now not super, super reactive, but you're disappointed. So when you have disappointment, you're slightly on a lower frequency. You're not completely like, you're not feeling good, but you're like, man, damn, that sucks. But if you take your time to get to it, then what happens is the longer you sit on the loss and the longer you sit on the emotion, the easier it is because what you can pick up momentum in both ways, down and up. So, you start to doubt your skills in the future, even though you might have lost one trade, but you start to doubt your skills. Now you're worried, like, am I ever going to make it? Then you start to blame the market or yourself or somebody else. And then it's a downward spiral, right? But let's say you are disappointed, but then you go straight and you document it. What happens is when you start and you address it and you're looking at what you've done, you're no longer overwhelmed because you can see it. You know what happened. You can climb out of the frustration. You're definitely not bored because now you're addressing it. And then what you realize is because you're taking away the emotions, the longer you address something, the more you see on, not why did this happen to me, but what is this lesson protecting me from in the future? That's how I always look at it, right? What are my losses? What are my lessons protecting me from in the future? Because, for example, now I can go on a losing streak, but my energy, my attitude towards the losing streak, honestly, it's pretty relaxed because I've done it enough. So I know, like, okay, as soon as I address it, I'm like, all right, cool. The probabilities of success, I know them. If my win rate, let's say, is 50%, then okay, cool. The next time I take a setup, there's a decent shot. There's a decent chance that we're good again. And so you're able to slide your way to the top. So eventually, if you address so often, what happens is now when you lose, you're immediately, at a higher level. When you've addressed to a point where now the losses, they don't have an association with anything negative anymore. They don't have an association with these things because you've taken it out of it so many different times, right? You cleanse a loss so many times, right? You've analyzed, you've assessed those things, where it's like, all right, cool, we're good. And so you might lose now, and because you get to the documentation, because you address those things, you might even be happy, like, cool, that's all good, because I know based on what I know and probabilities, the next one, there's a good chance it goes our way, right? And then you have enthusiasm, and then eventually you get to a point where there's nothing there that you're detached completely from what the outcome is, and you're just going through the process because you appreciate and love just the process itself because of what it's given you over time. And I don't sustain these frequencies, but I definitely catch myself in these, just the way of this perspectives, because I've just seen it so many times. So, all right, I know some of you guys are sending me. So does that make sense? Everyone, I know you guys are plugging in right now, and I didn't actually think I was going to share that right now, but it just kind of just connected with me to do that. I was like, oh wow, like this really resonates, and it makes a lot of sense. So it's actually the first time that I really looked at it like that. And so I'm gonna open up here. I know I just got a trading journal from somebody. I don't have access to it, so you have to give me, if you're gonna share it, you have to make sure that you share with the right access. So I did get one. Give me access, and I'll definitely be able to look at it. All right, let's see here. Some of you I know are tagging me. All right, so I just got one. So once you send that over again with the right sharing settings, then we'll be good to go, and we'll go through it. Because, guys, there's one thing I could go over mine, and I'm gonna go over my whole month because, guys, it's gonna be such a cool session. I'm gonna go over my whole month because, believe me, February was like smooth sailing, just next level stuff. March was the real traders experience, and I'm really excited for you guys to see the power of consistency, proper rules, documentation, and y'all are gonna see how crazy March was for me in terms of the volatility, the roller coaster ride, um, in terms of result, but in terms of behavior and emotions, it honestly wasn't too bad. So I'm excited for you guys to see that, because you're probably gonna be surprised. But let's see. Okay, cool. I think I got it this time. Sweet. All right, cool. So I do have one, and then text me real quick on Instagram if you want me to keep this private or if I can just share. I want to make sure I do this right. All right. So cool. I got one, guys. Appreciate all of you that are doing that. You guys are the best. All right, cool. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna keep this as private as possible. All right, 1 second here. Got it here. Da-da-da. All right. Mine is all good to share. I didn't get yours actually. Hold on. Yeah, Kalani, share it with me on Insta. I didn't see yours, but cool. All right, I'm gonna share my screen and we'll go through these things. I almost ended it by accident. My bad. All right, let's see here. All right, here it is. Perfect. Let me see what you guys can see here. If it's done properly, you guys should only be able to see like the tab. Are we good? Can you guys just see the tab? Hold on. I don't know if this thing just bugged out. Black screen. All right, cool. That's not what I wanted. Weird. All right, cool. No worries, guys. in a different way. Let's see, share screen. Good now. Oh, maybe it just took a second. All right, so let me go ahead. It's loading. My bad, guys. Sharing this tab to YouTube. I wonder why it takes so long. Patience. That's the name of the game, I guess. All right, we're good. It's perfect. So, all right, guys. This is the journal. I know you guys are using whatever it is that you're using, but this is one that one of our students, she uses the one that I made. And if you can see it, like there's a couple of things. There's one entry based on a scalper, and then the rest were smart money concepts. So I think right here, if we're looking at this, you're not taking that many trades, which is pretty cool, right? So now you have, it looks like 2-3 trades this week, a couple trades that week, and then here's the dates. Took one trade too. All right. So reflection wise, I think we could do a little deeper analysis on the weekly review. But if you guys look at the assets, I mean, she's trading crypto, forex. It's like a healthy in between crypto and forex. And the beautiful thing is, since she's using the same type of setups, scroll over my reflections. All right. Oh, okay, cool. We'll look into that then. I figured it would be the in here. So all right, so we'll open these up. I won't go over like super in depth, but enough where I think it'll still be valuable. So if you guys look, the majority of the setups that she took were mitigation. So of the 10 trades, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's a tally as well. Out of the 10 setups, 8 of them were mitigation. So that's pretty consistent. And 2 of them were big wins. Now, only one scalper trade, so that doesn't really give us enough like proof of whether that's a good type of entry model or trading plan. So I don't really know enough yet. But pretty consistent in terms of setups. I trade pretty similar. I really take 2 types of setups, and one of them is like 95% of trades. It looks like you don't lean in any direction, really, for the most part. Looks like you took one pretty big loss. We'll go over that in a second. But this is what I like, and I want to give it to you because this mindset very neutral the whole time. Looks like one emotion, and that's it. I have this set up so you can choose a variety of emotions, but this is awesome. Neutral, confident. So if we look at the confident setups, they were wins. Patient were wins. But either way, it looks like the emotion, like you're pre-trading, seems like you're in a good spot. And so let's read a couple of these. Pre-trade. This is mostly technical stuff. We won't go too deep into that. Wyckoff accumulation in the 4-hour time frame, imbalance, breaker structure, entered at SOS, previous resistance, now support. So that was a loss, and we'll talk about why this was quite the outlier. But all right, so let's note this, and this person is pretty transparent. So I don't think she'll mind. This was a sell limit that ended up being a big one. Good stuff. So what result, right? So if you guys notice, we had 1, 2, 3 losses, a big loss, an entry missed, and really you have 2 big wins and 1 small wins. So there was really 3 wins and 7 outcomes that were undesirable. 1 that was just scratch. So we really have 3 wins and 6 losses. But based on her risk reward, we're going to find out if this turned out to be good or not. And this is really what I like to see. 9 out of 10 trades were disciplined trades. This is how I measure a successful week. This is a successful month. Now, the month isn't over, right? And I know you've been busy, so you probably haven't traded for the last week or so. But this is good, guys. This is what you want. You really want to focus on this. The funny thing is this column is the one that matters the least. The one that matters the most is this one, the trading plan column. Were you disciplined or not? And these are discipline losses. This is losing elegantly. -1, -1, -1, -5. So let's dive into this one. So trade hit stop loss. Looking back, I should have moved stop loss to the previous high in 4 hours instead of 15-minute. So it's still valid area. Looks like it was a similar. All right, keep it congruent. So now you know you probably won't make similar mistakes. Hit stop loss, didn't calculate lot size correctly, entered too soon. So guys, look, this right here, it was only a lot size issue. So was it a loss? Yes, and that's fine. But her month, she would be up 2%. She would be up 2% instead of down 2%. So is she a bad trader? Absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. Discipline. But this is what we're looking to avoid, the big losses. And you know what? It happens. Some of these mistakes happen. And since she is very disciplined, if she would have been over leveraging on purpose and you mess up the lot size, this is a blown account. But because this was maybe a 0.5% risk, 1% risk, then the loss wasn't extremely catastrophic. Do we want a 5% loss? No, that's not what we want. But can we come back from that? Absolutely, as seen here. But here's the thing, right? The risk reward, and here's what I would say: the risk reward is the thing, right? This should have been -1, but it was -5. So we can look at the charts. I want to go over. I don't know if anyone sent me another one. So you might let me know if it works. All right, cool. So we went over the losses. It was a lot size issue. If it wasn't for that, you'd be having a pretty good month. And then let's see here. So look, it just kind of did a thing, and then yeah, you had liquidity. So that was not going in your favor. Let me go back to here. Okay. So let's go to the big one. And I'm glad you're documenting the entries that aren't playing out, because some of those, if they hit, then you're good. Price hit set TP. So the month could have been different with just one trade. So here, if price is very near, 10 to 20 pips near, market execute. Now, 10 to 20 pips is quite a bit, but I'm assuming this isn't Forex. It's crypto. In crypto, 10 to 20 pips is basically nothing. So again, the limits versus market execution. As you guys can see, she was looking to trade off of this level. Actually, I don't know if you guys can see that. But what the end up outcome of that session was, it had just missed her entry. And now she's got a rule in place. And this is something that's super important. After you see specific patterns over and over and over again in your own behaviors, then you can set rules, right? Then you can go and say, oh, okay, you know what? I'm noticing that I'm missing out on this, or I'm losing this way. Okay, I have enough proof that I'm going to market execute if this, and this. So I would probably get a bit more. I would collect more data, maybe do some more back testing, and have a more black and white entry opportunity. Because with this, market execute, if the price is near the zone, market execute instead of pending order. So with that being said, when would you just let it get to your zone then? When would you let it get to exactly where you're looking for? So, contemplate those ideas, and we'll get into it. Euro USD, looks like you were pretty confident based on mitigation, 786. Awesome. That's our kind of signature setups. Big win. You hit a 3 risk reward, and you manually exited because it was Friday. Cool. Following rule to close trade by 12 p.m. Pacific, even if traders is free. Awesome. Followed plan, no compromise. So that's good. That's healthy. That's healthy. Here looks like a smaller loss, hit stop loss, but I did half the risk to normal. Realized after that entry was at equal highs and uptrend. Okay. So if you can answer in the chat for me. What's up, Willow Kid? If you can answer in the chat for me, what made you risk less here in the pre-trend, in the pre-trade? Oh, was it because of liquidity, equal highs? So did you already decide, you know what, I want to get in, but I don't want to have the complete risk? So do you have a rule set in stone where you're like, okay, if these kind of setups happen, then I'm going to trade with half of my normal risk? So let me know. Let me know what if you have a rule for that. If not, I would. All right. And then got a small win here, move stop loss to stop profit, but did not follow stop loss rules. I saw liquidity. Awesome. Have a rule now. Look at, man, you're killing it. So move stop loss to stop profit, but didn't follow stop loss rules. I moved it too soon instead of waiting until my trade went full 1 to 2. Okay. So I would actually, my plan, I would call this undisciplined, because you had a plan that you didn't follow. That's how, at least that's how I do it. Obviously, you don't have to do that, but that's what I do. Should have followed my rule. Price ended up coming back to entry anyways. So good thing I moved stop loss to stop profit. Oh, okay. So it ended up being okay, but even then, some of those trades, it would maybe go the other way. So in this case, it ended up being all right. But not always, right? So, all right, small loss. I use lower risk because there's still liquidity above this high that could get cleared. Cool. So it seems like that's something that you do then. Less risk if liquidity hits stop loss, use lower risk. Okay, cool. So for you, worth to get in, and these two setups didn't play out. But if you think long term it's worth it, then keep doing what you're doing. And then we had this last big win on with Euro USD, which was last week. All right, big win. He hit a 3-to-1 on this guy. Looks like a lot of confirmations, 4-hour structure, clear liquidity, fibs. It looks like you kind of had everything you needed. Shortened my risk reward because stop loss was too much for what I wanted to enter. Took stop loss to next previous high based on 15-minute, not 4-hour. It gave me a better risk reward overall. Was able to take profit for risk reward and secure 3%. Would like to see if price continues down on my original 4-hour time frame analysis. Haven't built enough emotional stamina to hold the trade based on higher time frame yet. I realize I do prefer to get in and get out of the market within 24 to 48 hours or less. I also realize with Forex pairs to establish a rule that when price goes 50 pips in profit, no matter where my TP is, to move stop loss to break even for capital preservation. Followed confirmations, textbook setups, made some adjustments with risk reward when realized how big stop loss was compared to my predetermined plan / rules. I'll be honest, guys. I'll be really real with you. This is a pretty fucking good journal. I'll be real. I will say that most people, probably your stuff will not look like this. And Abby's been trading for quite a while. I think 4 or 5 years, maybe longer now. And so this is a good example of what to do. And hopefully I actually get some examples where you're starting to do this for the first time and it's going to be a little bit sloppier. So I don't want everyone to expect, you to be trading at this caliber quite yet. I would say this is a great place to be at, at this level. Yes, maybe the outcomes, the percentages and the risk reward isn't what you want it to be, right? But that's okay. So here we go back here. So overall, I mean, that's a great month in terms of awareness, growth. It shows you that you can lose 6 trades, win 3, and 2 of them are really the big ones, and you're still pretty solid. If it wasn't for that one outlining trade, you would have had a much better month. So the fact that you can look at it and go, oh wow, like I'm actually pretty good at this. I'm actually having pretty good results. That's great. That's a really great way to do that. And when you're at that pace, You don't know when all of a sudden you have 2 to 3 to 4 that just happen in a row. If you guys remember, the her wins really came towards the second half of the month. She started off the month -8 risk reward, -8 risk reward because of a big one, and then she climbed out of it. So pretty good work. I mean, I got to give it back to you. That's a great documentation. Something to be proud of. Obviously, we're always going to keep getting better, but yeah, definitely crushing it. I would say that on things that maybe we could do a bit better would be avoiding those big losses. That's definitely one of them. And then really, I guess maybe go a little bit more in depth in your pre-trading on how you feel on an emotional level. Obviously, the mindset you already tracked it, but maybe just a little bit into there, just so you know, is there something reoccurring? Is something happening? But honestly, this is pretty thorough. Maybe you watched the tutorial video that I did with this, and obviously you've seen me do this for quite a while. But yeah, this is great stuff. Like guys, if you have anything like that, then I highly recommend like you do something similar. What do you put in the weekly review below? Oh yeah, so good question. In the weekly review section, you finish I do it week. It's like week by week. So for example, your first week trading, you had 3 losses, right? So I would go over it. Okay, you know what? I lost 3 trades in a row, but feel good. They were disciplined trades. I followed my plan. A couple technical things I tweaked, but either way, I'm not worried about it. I feel good. Or I lost these 3 trades in a row. Honestly, I'm kind of frustrated. I'm annoyed, but because when you talk about your emotions in like direct connection to your trading, as you say things out loud, it almost takes away from it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Hearing yourself say, I'm emotional, or I'm frustrated, I'm angry, or man, I'm hesitating. As soon as you say these things, it all of a sudden you kind of get to grasp it a bit better. So with the weekly reviews, I would put here, whatever dates they are, and then yeah, I took 3 trades or I took 1 trade. It went like this, no big deal. Crypto was volatile, whatever. Week 4 or week 3, hey, you know what? The power of being disciplined, the power of taking the setup. I got 2 big ones this week. Currently 3 of 10, but it literally risk reward shows that I can trust this plan that I'm following. So something like that is what I would be saying. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, give it up for Abby for sure, crushing it. So I'm gonna go over one more real quick, and we'll end it up. Okay, I got it. I got the other one. Sick. Let me see here. Oh, this one's got. Oh, you got some. You took some trades. All right, hold on. Let me share this one, guys, as well. Let's see here. All right, I think this is this one. All right, let me know when we're back to it. Yeah, so let me know in the chat when you guys can see this. It's funny. It looks like my face froze. It's hilarious. I wonder why it takes that long. We can see. All right, cool. All good. Perfect. So here we have a in-depth documentation. A lot more trades. A lot more trades really can do. It can give you more data. You don't need to trade a lot, but the more you have to work with, the better you know. So I mean, yeah, let's say you traded yesterday too, I think. So you're up. You're having a great month. Congratulations. So if you guys look at something, this here goes from you're trading crypto, some commodities, a lot of forex, mostly forex. It looks like you started off with a little bit of crypto, but then you just like, you know what? We're doing forex. Lots of unnecessary losses. All right, so we'll go into it. And so here's the mindset. So one, I want to give you your flowers for For just being transparent, a lot of people can't even be real with themselves. So that's one thing important. Two, something I'm noticing right away is let's see here. Looks like you got away with a couple. You got some FOMO here. You definitely took a trade that you probably weren't gonna supposed to be taking. But four confirmations, entry given by Jordan, but I entered low, so it was not good entry at all. Quality two, you still got a small win, which is great. FOMO day into it, following power hour. Wasn't drawn on all day until London Open moved it, whereas closed with a small profit. Looking for a better entry, and I'm glad you are transparent. Now looks like this one. This is a big one. You got a big one here, 3%. Let me ask you something. What's your risk percentage? What's the risk percentage that you take? Because I'm seeing kind of inconsistent losses. I see minus 1%, minus 0.25%. Oh, it looks like it's 1% risk then, right? Okay, it looks like it's 1%. I risk 0.5%. All right, all right. So if you're risking 0.5%, then all right. So let's look at this one. This is one that was undisciplined. That's what I like to look at those because that's where we actually learn. So emotional, FOMO, hopeful, rushed. Okay, less confirmation, so you can see it. Rush trade. I was not looking very closely in lower time frames and kind of rushed out of FOMO due to JPI and Y news coming out. Took a loss, then found another entry higher, which is still running. Reduced my stop loss. I still think macro. Cool. So okay, I'll say this: the fact that you closed out manually is always good. Shows that you're not super attached, and these are things that we can definitely change. Now with this one, it says 1.5%, but your risk reward was 8. So if your risk is 0.5%, then this trade should have been a 4% gain. And what's interesting is you had a very good risk reward and a good outcome, even though your mindset you felt like you don't know much, and maybe it was due to the last loss. But I'm curious to see what you have here. I feel like I'm trying to get the top, so I'm not that confident. I need to see a clear brick structure for my zone, but at the same time, I'm afraid I will miss the move. Okay, cool. So it looks like you caught the move, which is great. Yeah, you caught a pretty nice move there. So I'm curious as how that went. So yeah, let me know. Did you end up under leveraging with this trade? If you did, I'm really curious. And I'm not sure if she did or not, but what I will say is this: if you're under leveraging, because look, over leveraging is worse, but under leveraging is still not that is not great, and that's something that we want solutions with. Because what happens is, I ran into a problem where I was under leveraging the winners. So your plan requires a consistent risk. Because if you're under leveraging and those are the winners, then the losers are still going to be heavier. So you want to just kind of make sure you're keeping that pretty consistent. And that comes from just building this out, doing this over and over and over and over and over again. So that's when that's going to happen. So if you keep it consistent, then you're you're only gonna get better. But a couple losses, and here's one, right? Your JPY distribution uncertain. Eight confirmations. That's a lot more than usual. Entry missed. Ooh, okay, that happens. Bit skeptical about this trade, considering I've been in sales for a while. Okay, I told myself I would not trade on Friday due to big impact news. I still see EJ bearish. I will still look for potential entry. All right, so I see what you mean here. I'm glad that you made this undisciplined because it seems like it's something that you would have taken normally. And so take the setup. If it follows, that's what your confirmations are for. It's they give you permission, so follow it. You know, I've been in your position though, where you're like, man, I've been selling this thing and I've been losing. Like, all right, but remember, you're taking quality losses. You're taking predetermined setups. It's not out of fear. So if your trades aren't out of an emotional state and they're only out of your technical confirmations, you have a green light. Like you can shoot. All right, we got some winners, small wins. All right, so let's go over this one. Undisciplined, some FOMO, so some emotions. Had just lost previously the day before. Looks like three losses in a row, 2 losses in a row before this one. So this definitely looks like you rushed it with only 3 confirmations. At least it wasn't a big loss. Okay. Hey, you're aware. That's good. So it looks like, I mean, the winners are outweighing the losers, and the small wins are adding up. That's something that I would take away from this is the small wins are definitely adding up. That's what I would say. One of the big takeaways is your small wins are crushing it. Like those 1-to-1s are definitely helping you out. Let's see. Here was a bigger one towards the end. Prepared, neutral, but little euphoric. Okay. This was a trade I was able to manage quite well. Once order flow was established, I had on a couple entries. One was a stop loss. I had my higher target that I knew was going to get hit, so I attempted multiple times. Overall, all right, this is a dangerous phrase. I knew was going to get hit. That's a dangerous phrase. We don't know anything. Right? We have some hunches. We have that intuition. We don't know anything. So careful with that. Overall, great trade. Had to close the whole position due to getting ready to sleep. Great, good work. Like exiting when you know you can't manage it. That's a great thing to do. Let me go plug in this computer. It's a good thing to do when trading. So a couple of good things, a couple of things that we can work on. But overall, like pretty good stuff. So it looks like, and I really appreciate that one you're willing to share with people who are watching this, but two, when people can, I hope everyone here just takes advantage of what they're seeing. One thing I do want to ask you is, what is your rule in terms of scaling into a setup? Because, for example, did you have 0.5% risk, but you divided it in entries? Or was it more so, wait a second, guys. So yeah, did you have 0.5% risk, but then you had like 3 entries that added up to 0.5%? Or did you take 0.5% per entry? Because if you did 0.5% per entry, then technically you're over leveraged. You know what I'm saying? When I look for re-entries, I need to see a clear break structure in lower time frame, but I not risk the whole 5%. All right, perfect. Hold on, let me get this charging here. All right, so my laptop and my phone are like dying. Give me a sec, guys. All right, so with that being said, not a lot of break evens. So I'm curious to what your break even rule is. You might just not have like a plan that works with that. But for me, I tend to have a bit more break evens, but that's just me. 2 entries we're taking first. So 2%, 3%, 1%, 1.4, 1.5. So then this is a 6-to-1 risk reward. This isn't a 3. Unless you total risk was 1%, then yeah, it is a 3. But it looks like so this was an undisciplined trade that you didn't reflect on. A couple of trades that don't have reflection. I don't know if you want to, I would say this looks like a more like normal. A couple of days, you did do a couple things. You lost a couple, you won a couple, but one thing is like, hey, we make mistakes. But like it's like at the gym, you miss a day, but what you want to make sure you do, missing once is okay, but 2 in a row, oof. So we want to make sure we're not doing 2 in a row, right? We want to make sure that we get back into the swing of things. But overall, I mean, congratulations, great month, 30 trades. Looks like the result here, the risk reward was pretty solid. And I want you to think about it. If you were to, it looks like if your trades went the full length, you put it as 3, even if your risk wasn't quite like that. But I mean, congratulations. Keep up what you're doing and look at what you're doing right now. And there's definitely room, for some more discipline. What I would say is as long as you do something like this, basically all your setups are very similar, and you're gonna be on a good path. But yeah, I mean, amazing stuff, guys. Like you're truly brilliant, and yeah, cool. So guys, I mean, appreciate all of you that were on. I got a flight to go catch. I'll be in Chicago for a few days, and then Nance and I are going to Thailand in like 10 days or so. But we're gonna be live here. We're gonna be plugging in a lot more stuff. And yeah, shout out to y'all. So shout out Abby. Shout out you. Let me know how I pronounce your name. I think it's Kalani. And then shout out to Nance. So thank you guys for learning and stay consistent. And I'll plug in here if you want to work on a journal and you want to have something to actually tap into, then do it like a pro. Well, am I going live? Yeah, I'll be live tomorrow. So tomorrow morning I'll be back on Go Live, and my Go Live vacation is over. And let's get into these indices, guys. So all right, much love to y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one.